Did you see the Pope is threatening to excommunicate the SSPX if they appoint their own bishops? Yeah. That seems like the kind of thing you might get excommunicated for. Appointing like rogue bishops without papal authority. Yeah, that does sound like something you'd get in trouble for, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Ooh, we got wet hair. Wet hair syndrome. Whoo, whoo. Bring it back. Bring it back. Girl, you're a mess today? I know. Oh, fuck. And I got like a neck crack. Nope. Oh, nope. Nope, not happening. Not happening, folks. It's not happening. What can you say? What can you say? What's up, everyone? How you doing? How quick stream gonna be? Pretty quick. Pretty quick. Pretty quick. Pretty quick. So, you know, I mean, I only got a little bit before I gotta go because I'm hitting on a road trip tonight. What exactly is going on? Are there any substitutions in veganism that help with muscle definition? I was always told for muscle building you need a good balance of white meat. I've got great news for you. That's bullshit. White meat doesn't do anything more for you than the contribution of protein that it provides. That's it. The reason people recommend white meat is because it's lean protein. That's it. If you have lean protein from another source, you're fine. There is literally nothing biologically about the content of white meat that aids in your muscle definition. Well, muscle definition is just how much muscle do you have and how little fat do you have. Chicken provides a lot of protein and not a lot of calories, so, you know. Have faith. Have faith. Can we call all Drake fans spiritually MAGA? I saw that fuck-ass tweet from, like, 2021 pop up on my feed again because somebody retweeted it. The, Drake being like, and which is your favorite crayon? And Millie Bobby Brown being like, I like the watermelon color. And he's like, damn, that's a color these days? It's hard for a guy like me to keep up, or something like that. It's fucking funny. So funny. You streaming tomorrow? From Zion National Park? No, I'm afraid not. I'm gonna be too busy getting my balls rocked by whatever the fuck we have planned. Do I know what we have planned? No, because I don't read the itinerary. What does that even mean? It means he's a groomer. Got notifications on my damn phone. What day are you getting back? You ask a lot of questions. Drake the type of guy to say, uh-oh, we got company when the bad guys pull up. Cheese it, guys! It's the fuzz! Wah. You got it. You got it. This is pretty cool, huh? Not this. Not that. This. New Hawaii law targets corporate influence in politics after Citizens United ruling. Like the phrasing after Citizens United ruling, like this didn't happen 100 years ago. YouTube like button is an airplane when you click on it. Why? Was it like 9/11? Hawaii's Democratic governor on Thursday signed into law a bill that uses a novel approach to reduce the influence of corpos and hard-to-track dark money groups that have been able to spend unlimited amounts on politics since a 2010 U.S. Supreme Court ruling. You have your designated survivor set up? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Let me do the segment, okay? How about we leave the bits to the professional? Dick joke. They know you're traveling, probably? Oh, well, it's a road trip for me. This is big news, though. Pig news, even. Seriously. I doubt the Supreme Court is going to let it go through unmolested. Why is it post-midterms? Because you can't do something like this right away. This is like a massive foundational change to the way elections operate in the state of Hawaii. Hey, Ben. So you couldn't do this just overnight, you know? The High Court ruling in Citizens United, this ruling benefited Democrats and Republicans. Fuck you. The campaign finance watchdog group Open Secrets tracked more than $4 billion in outside political spending in the 2024 federal elections, almost 12 times as much as in 2028. Whew. Goddamn. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be allowed to take effect. The Supreme Court fucking this up would overturn a ton of precedents regarding state and business oversight. Yeah, but like they're already overturning a bunch of precedent for state and business oversight. So like, you know, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. God. No one gives a shit anymore. We need to pack the court so hard. The crazy thing is, as bad as Citizens United has been, I actually think it's just a drop in the bucket now. I actually think that, like, billions might be spent through PACs now because of Citizens United, but the value of the media coverage that is deferred to Republicans because they control both mainstream and independent media is worth easily an order of magnitude more than that. Like, to put it another way, I think that the monetary value of every PAC contribution since Citizen United is less than the value of Joe Rogan being a right-wing plant. I mean that. I genuinely mean that. Like, people are very resistant to direct advertising these days. For the most part, even the most, like, brain-dead boomers are pretty aware of, like, the fact that people lie to you through the TV, through the images and the noises and the videos. So I think that, yeah, I think that by and large, like, are they? No, they are. I'm not, like, not compared to us, maybe, but they are. I really, really think that the biggest influence they have, the biggest asset they have, is the fact that they just get untold value in essentially unpaid advertising. So I don't know if this is going to do anything, but meh. Maine did the same thing in 2024. But the law is currently locked up in court. Surprised Mills signed it. There's good and bad people of every race? What the fuck are you talking? No, there are no good white people. Banned. Would they have that influence without Citizens United? Yes. Citizens United has nothing to do with Joe Rogan being a right-wing plant or whatever else. Not even me? Shut up. Where's my hug ass at type white boy? I can't even say the word I'm thinking in my head. MF. I'm me. I'm a good white. Catch you at the goddamn cookout talking like that. I swear to God, I'm gonna hit you with a sandal. Gonna make me look bad standing next to you. You're walking up to Unc being like, well, we white boys aren't that bad, pointing at me with your thumb. Piece of shit. Is there any coverage of this? Another brilliant case of mainstream media literally just like not. This is from 13 days ago.
Off. Hawaii could become the first state to limit corporate influence in elections. A Senate bill is headed to final vote at the Capitol this week. Supporters say it could reshape how campaigns are funded, but critics warn it could face major legal challenges. Nikki Shenfield reports.
For 16 years, the U.S. Supreme Court's Citizens United decision has allowed corporations and organizations to spend unlimited money on political campaigns. Hawaii lawmakers are trying to challenge that by redefining what...
It's insane to me that there are liberals that defend this decision, by the way. It's genuinely insane to me. again, I not to pull the whole like last liberal shtick or whatever, but like the idea conceptually of believing in democracy and no, like infinite corporate spending, even though like a child could understand why that's a bad idea, just bad outcomes. It's insane to me. I don't see many liberals defend this. There are some. There are some. I assume it's out of contrarianism. I can't imagine it coming from like a first principles basis or whatever. Like you're not defending this for its own sake.
Corporations are allowed to do. Senate Bill 2471 would classify corporations as
I feel like they made this room a little bit too big.
artificial persons created by the state and make clear that they do not have the power to spend money to influence elections.
So what the Citizens United case said was that corporations get the same rights that people do, which doesn't make sense. If corporations are creations of state law, then they shouldn't get the same human rights that are protected in the Constitution. If this passes, it will be the first piece of legislation like this in the country. And I'm really proud that Hawaii is positioned to lead the way on overturning this really bad decision that has corrupted our democracy.
Pronounce his last name, you're racist. I have no idea what Hawaiian phonetics sounds like. I really don't. I don't even know if I've ever watched Lilo and Stitch from start to finish, and that would be like the closest I would have ever gotten to cultural proximity. Jarrett, can I get away with that? Keo Hokalole? Keo Hokalole? That would be my guess. Keo? No, probably Keo, right? Not Keo? Keo Hakalole? I don't know if they do hard vowels.
Legislation like this in the country. And I'm really proud that Hawaii is positioned to lead the way on overturning this really bad decision that has corrupted our democracy for the last 16 years.
Individuals like you can give a certain amount of money to a
It's a bad argument too. Citizens United, yeah, no, it makes no sense on any level, and it's ruinous, and I don't understand how it's not, yeah, I don't know.
campaign. But there is a limit on how much and how often you can give.
For corporations, because they represent so many people, they are able to give far much more money than one person can.
Advocates say the goal is to crack down on what they call dark money.
Where it seems like when one person opposes one group's interests, they are forced out, and money, significant amount of money, is thrown to people who support that group's interests, and then they are put in positions of power.
But opponents, including the state attorney general's office, warn that the bill may violate the Constitution and argue that Citizens United is still the law of the land.
Yeah, I just don't think the Supreme Court's going to let this fly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, better systems have already been invented for this. You just need a finite amount of public funding. Like with with Mamdani, there was a funding cap. Obviously, that doesn't, like, Citizens United allows for PAC spending, but like no PACs, or at least PAC contribution limits, and the money that you campaign with is publicly provided. We have systems that do this, man. Not in America, but Musk solved AI labor displacement. What the fuck what are you on about? I don't know. Is this your channel? I think this is your channel. That's not cool, man. You can't promote your channel in my chat. What if I go hungry? I've got cats to feed. Honestly. The trick to Hawaiian pronunciation is that every vowel makes a sound even when put together. I think that's really common outside of, like, Germanic languages, right? Isn't that super common? Like, I know Greek is like that. Japanese is like that. Isn't that more common? And it's like, it's English and it's the Germanic languages. It's like English and German where you'll have like an O and an E and an I next to each other. So you just like smush that together into a single vowel sound. Romantic? No, because Spanish is also like that, right? I'm not sure. I'm not a linguist. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, we have more info on the motor oil shortage. It's not looking good, folks. AutoZone informing managers there are challenges on select motor oils and lubes, specifically those that flow through the strait. While not all types of oil are impacted, price adjustments are coming from most products. I saw, I believe from Gas Buddy guy, from Patrick DeHaan, I'm pretty sure I saw something like a 40% reduction in inventory. No, different account, but still. Same internal memo. Look at this. We're facing the largest supply shortage of lubricating fluids in the modern history of America. Realistic middle-of-the-road estimates are for our average available supply in this product category to drop by 40%. Jesus Christ. It's, again, not as big of a deal if you're thinking of it from the perspective of like a regular citizen who drives a car, but imagine truck drivers or like factory. You know, you use motor oil for like everything. It's an industrial lubricant, right? I mean, I know they use different stuff for like ball bearings or whatever, but you get my point. Gonna have to use olive oil? Yeah. Truckers are gonna have to make a stop at you know, Olive Garden for the free breadsticks and the little like olive oil dipping sauce. They're just gonna be dumping the little ramekins of that straight into their fucking straight in the tank. Make the truck smell great when it runs, by the way. 40%. Isn't this all a good thing from your accelerationist perspective? I mean, yeah, but it's still bad. Like, yes, but it's still not good. Yeah, good thing here is very relative. It's a relative descriptor, you know? Yeah, I'm an accelerationist now. I'm not a sadist. Unless it's Republicans. When it's Republicans, as far as I'm concerned, they deserve literally everything bad that happens because of this presidency. I don't care. The whole that outdated liberal / Twitter lefty notion of like, you know, don't punish the South is full of good. I don't care. Listen, it's on an individual person per person basis. If you voted for Trump, you voted for oblivion. You voted for death and pedophilia. And I don't know what you want from me. Sympathy? You put me in here. I didn't vote for it. In World War II, they used canola oil and vegetable shortenings to oil the ships, so we might be back to that. I could be wrong, but I'm going to guess that modern machines are probably not as tolerant of that as older ones. Probably because newer machines are a little bit less, we'll say, wear resistant than military machines in World War II. You know what I mean? Like a World War II ship internal, you might have a gear that weighs like 500 pounds or something. You can probably deal with a bit of extra friction there, but with a modern vehicle, you've got everything down to about as light as it can get with current technology. So I don't think that's really doable. New machines need Princess Lube? Yeah, basically. Is that a term, Princess Lube? Is that something that truckers say while they're being a little chauvinist with it? They're like, my rig, it needs oil. I guess I'll shit in it. And then another guy's like, nah, these new things, you know what I mean? They need girl lube. If they don't, they should. I think that's a sex thing. Princess lube. As far as I'm concerned, all lube is for princesses. Man the fuck up. Nah, I'm kidding. You should use lube even for vaginal sex if you need it. There's no shame. Got to be careful with that. You don't know. Truckers are paying close to an all-time high. I think they are paying an all-time high. I think we're there, man. So canola oil for sex. So the lesson we're taking from this is that regrettably, we are going to have to cut down on the use of motor oil for intercourse. Yeah. No longer can we just dump it on ourselves and our partners and roll around in the grass, you know, out in the yard or whatever. Filled up my semi 2 days ago. Cost me $950. $950! Kowalski, how can you afford that yellow name? Christ. Motor oil is going to run out and trucks will permanently break down because they're pushing old oil. Yeah, apparently they're going to be like mixing up the formula in order to meet the lessened stock. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how much it is going to compromise the quality of the motor oil. They should double the price just for fun. Well, I think they are going to be doubling the price. I don't know if fun is why. I think they're just going to be doing it because there's less of it, you know? Aren't truckers all Trump voters anyway? Yes. Every single one.
We are all paying for more at the gas pump, right? And if you need an oil change, you might also be in for some sticker shock.
Are you thinking of ethanol? No. I'm talking about motor oil, not ethanol.
Fox 4's Dave DeMarco working for you live with the details on how much more this might cost you. Dave?
What is... I swear to God, man, they're just selling these guys unlined suits. Like they're just straight up going to Indochino and they're like, give me your cheapest whatever. A suit, sir? Yeah, whatever. And they're just getting like a sackcloth spray painted blue. I don't...
And experts tell me these engine oil price increases
just slap some shit on me,
those
man. I don't care.
Price spikes. And some larger service centers are being told to cut their oil shipments to avoid oil shortages. Every driver uses it.
We do a lot of oil changes here. It's a commodity that everybody needs, just like tires.
But since you don't change your oil as often as you refill your tank, you may not realize the price of engine oil has been rising even faster.
It's very unfair, but at the same time, a lot's going on in the world.
The manager at
my guess is that it's not necessarily that the price will go up on its own. It's more that the dwindling supply of motor oil will be directed more and more towards its necessary function, which is helping truckers, because they're necessary for our economy to function. So it's going to be more like you go to get your motor oil topped up and the service station is like, we don't got that right now or whatever. Like maybe the price will go up, but I feel like a lot of it's just going to get used up, you know?
AC Auto Works says the extra price he's charged a gallon, about $7 more for synthetic and $4 more for semi-synthetic, came without warning or any grace period.
That's quite a bit versus, you know, a price increase every 5 years where it used to be cents on the dollar.
It's not just issues with the amount of crude oil that's getting through the Strait of Hormuz, but also the availability of refineries. 44% of those are in the Middle East, and there's a much larger focus on diesel than motor oil for the oil that does make it to available refineries. Shorter supply has already led to prices going
Car
up.
dumb person here, what does the motor oil actually do? Just lube all the bits? Yep, you got it. Yeah, pretty much. It's very important. Been using the rally bot on people in my school yearbook. It's insane how many people are super progressive but registered Republican, Vosh. It's a trend I keep seeing. Maybe they're lying to you, Ben. Maybe they're actually hyper chuds.
I know my prices have increased $20 since March, but at the same time, I sent out coupons to everybody for $20 to kind of offset that price increase.
Econopoly warns
Well,
against
that's nice.
cutting corners.
We got really hard times right now, but if you're going to change the oil viscosity of your car because one's cheaper than what it actually takes, then you're going to ruin your engine and have more problems later on.
And says so far customers are not skipping oil changes. But he hopes that doesn't change as more steps are being taken to try to avoid shortages.
Who knows what's going to happen in a couple months from now, especially since all this news came out practically yesterday about the shortage and the dealerships getting less quantity in.
So again, it's that full synthetic oil that already costs more and is likely going to be going up even more. So
What the fuck is this? Jesus Christ, $30 a mile? Trucking route, pick up Red Cloud to St. Peter, $30 a mile. Rate 11,500 for a 455-mile trip. That's fucking crazy. Oh my God, man. Jesus Christ. Truck drivers are just going to stop driving at some point. Well, I mean, in this case, this guy's making bank. Whoever's willing to pay for this delivery clearly has a lot of cash on hand. 11,500 for a fucking 455 mile. Dog, just rent the U-Haul. God. It's worth it just to set the trip up than hijack them? Yeah. People are going to be doing trucking. They're just like, yeah, load it all in the truck. I'll pay you when you get here. And then they're going to send some goons over to take your truck and drive it themselves. Christ alive. Me going 60K miles since my last oil change? Stop! You're an adult now. You can't keep doing this. You're grown up. It's not a joke. I baited him. I drive an EV. Fuck! Got me. All right. Well. Hold up. Truckers just have services where they can find cargo for delivery? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Our trucking industry is like this impossibly complicated logistics network. It's made up, I think, mostly of regular scheduled deliveries, but also to a large extent like bot contracts that you negotiate in an almost like Uber-esque fashion, where truckers will just be like waiting for pickup orders, you know? I don't know what the exact proportion is between like the regular routes and the gig routes, but it's, yeah, a lot of, again, there are 3 million truck drivers in the United States. It is a very big industry. A lot of the increase in gas, diesel, motor oil cost, whatever, it's going here. It's going to them. I mean, they're the ones, they need it more than you. Truckers have some of the highest rates of depression in America. Yeah, it sucks. 10 times the number of farmers in the country. Yeah, it's crazy how much we hear about them, you know. Farmers, I mean. They deliver literally everything to guys. Yeah, it's like the whole economy, basically. Is it bad I want truckers to get their jobs automated? This is one of those like big, I think, red pills again for like neoliberalism and the modern economy. All of this shit only works with cheap energy, with cheap gas. I don't think you can justify, at least unless you electrify the entire trucking network, I don't think you can justify like every road stop station having 50 different flavors of bubblegum if gas costs this much. You know what I mean? I don't think you can do that. I think that like you eventually need to return to a simpler distribution model, because eventually you're just not going to be able to keep up with the increasing complexity. The oil era is ending, yeah. Trains? Well, trains can't do, you know, last mile deliveries to every gas station across America, but yeah. We just built this country too damn big. Unfortunately, as we grow more and more dependent on a dwindling reserve of fuel, as it grows more expensive, we're probably going to see more and more population loss in areas that can't be serviced through regular corridors. Or to put it another way, the cost benefit of delivering stuff to here, to the emptiest parts of America, is going to dwindle because of the cost of gas. Like, it will just, the people living in the area that I'm circling with my mouse right now, will, like, you know, fucking Montana or Idaho or whatever, will not be able to afford the cost to consistently truck all the stuff you need for modern civilization up here. Or at least it's going to be really difficult. Population's going to dwindle, jobs. You're going to have more and more people gravitating towards these, you know, dense coastal, or by the Great Lakes, that's kind of coastal, areas where you can, you know, reliably get not just trains either, but like regular trucking routes, you know? I wonder if there's like an equation out there. There has to be somebody tracking this, but like efficiency of a trucking route in terms of distance traveled, gas consumed, whatever else, versus volume and worth of goods delivered. Because my guess is that a trucking corridor running between like Chicago and New York City, whatever, just anything around here, you know, is probably many times more cost efficient than trucking gigs going out here, right? It has to be. There has to be a website for that, for sure, 100%, yeah. How did trucking unions fall so badly? I mean, every union did. Reagan, you know. Also, trucking was always fucked union-wise because it's a hyper-individualistic job. You don't work with coworkers. You don't meet other people. You don't communicate with other peers, right? You're like a lone cowboy. It's the closest thing we have to cowboys today. They do what cowboys did, essentially, move cattle, transport goods. There's a reason they're gigachuds, yeah. If what you predict ends up happening, wouldn't that lead to blue states getting higher populations? Yeah, but I think that's more of a second order effect, really. Because like small town America has been drying up for ages. Kind of had something similar. Yeah, this would take too much number plugging in. I would need like a fancy map. I'd need somebody to spend at least 500 hours coding the map with real-time data updates for me to be able to read it, especially right now. Is this degentrification? Nope, that's a totally different word that means other stuff. Totally different thing. Hawaii and Puerto Rico are getting giga-fucked by this. They rely on oil for most of their electricity. Yeesh. Gotta get them solar panels or whatever. Well, either way. Look at this, man. Beacons of civilization. Well, maybe not Las Vegas, but, you know, I don't know. Paradise, Nevada. Salt Lake City. Colorado's nice. I hope I get to go to Colorado one day. I've always wanted to go to Colorado. Phoenix as a whole. I'm not defending Phoenix. Oh no, Fargo, North Dakota can't get supplies. I can't fucking believe. It actually, I'm not joking. It makes me fucking angry when I remember North Dakota. Fucking North Dakota gets 2 Senate seats. That makes me angry. You know North Dakota has less than 1 million people in it? 800,000. 800,000. 2 Senate seats. It's genuinely they get like as many Senate seats per like as many people per Senate seat as like California gets people per fucking congressional seat. Yeah, Wyoming is even less. I know. It makes me so fucking mad. We just don't need the Senate. Well, it was designed that way. Yeah, it was designed to be retarded. I don't know. Yeah, okay, they were wrong. The Senate was invented back when there were 13 states, and every one of them was like a pastoral slave state run by the 5 white landowning gentry who could vote, okay? It was a different system. It didn't really matter as much because only 5 dudes could vote in every state anyway, and they all were like, ooh, ooh, ooh. They were all like Ponzi, you know, Francophiles or fucking Anglophiles or whatever, arguing over which taxes they should cut next. It doesn't matter. It's not the same world. And we all know that as much of a pastoral slave-owning piece of shit as fucking Thomas Jefferson was, if he was around today, he would enact like Reconstruction 8. We all know this. Everyone knows this. The founding fathers might have been greedy fucking aristocrats concerned more with the taxes they suffered from Britain and the representation they felt they were owed and so on and so forth. They felt disrespected. It might have been like an aristocrat on, you know, nobility battle or whatever. But we all know that if they were around today, they would be, they'd be digging ditches. I'm mad. Well. Dog, we're just gonna straight up run out of... I almost said olive oil. We talked about olive oil so much. Motor oil. Yeah, no, Jefferson kept slavery out of the Declaration of Independence. Did you guys see the, what's her name, Alia tweet? The one where she was like, I think that whether or not you're a vegan today says a lot about whether or not you would have owned slaves like 300 years ago, and everyone got really mad at her even though she was correct. I know you people would have made the most disgusting pro-slavery arguments if it was 300 years ago. Ye old fucking live stream or whatever. And I'm like, dog, just face it. Abolitionists are better people. And then you're like, blacks can't even get a job in the North. At least in the South, they get provisions from their master. If you think about it, actually, abolition is more unethical because if it wasn't for slavery, there wouldn't even be Africans in America. This is the shit you people would be saying. She's not wrong. Vosh loves doing the plantation voice. Well, we'll see. No, wait, that was almost Bill Cosby. That's a different voice. Bill Cosby plantation owner is a good bit, though. He was a bit of a pick-me. That'd be a good bit, though. You see, the slaves these days, they complain. They a jibber and a jabber. They don't know what it was like back over there. It's better over here. He's very MAGA-coded? Yeah, he's like a rapist. It's pretty MAGA-coded. Raisin Razzle Pudding Pops. Yeah, you got it. He's not anything anymore? Wait, is he dead? Nah, he's not dead. No, he's 88 years old. 88? Suspicious. Catch my ass, my white ally ass, dying at 87. Because I care. Oh, God help me. I'm sorry. I was checking CNN. Colorado governor defends granting clemency to election denying clerk. Fuck me, dude.
The last Trump ally who was still in prison for 2020 election-related crimes is now being granted clemency and could be released from custody in just over 2 weeks, but not by the president. Instead, Colorado's Democratic governor, Jared Polis, says that election denier Tina Peters will get clemency after admitting that she, quote, made a mistake.
Is that how it works for other crimes?
And misled Colorado election officials. Now, Peters, you may remember, is the former election clerk
delicious.
who was convicted of conspiring
Freshly
with fellow
squeezed orange
election
juice.
deniers to breach her own county's election systems in an attempt to prove President Trump's baseless claims of voter fraud in the 2020 election. Now, the president...
This woman is legitimately one of the most dangerous. She is like an extremist, radical, like unhinged, detached from reality, openly attempted to subvert the election, like criminal meddling, doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on it, made a media spectacle of her failure to successfully tamper with the election, sobbed like a bitch in front of the judge. Demonic woman. Demonic woman. God almighty. We have this no country. No country. should have gotten 2 life sentences. I genuinely think what she did is treason. I think that we have massively degraded the meaning of the term, and I think that, yeah.
Who launched a very intense pressure campaign on state officials to release her, reacted to this news tonight, posting, quote, "Free Tina." Now, Governor Polis is reducing Tina Peters' 9-year prison sentence in half to 4.5 years. He said she could be paroled, though, within a month after serving less than 2 years in prison. And Governor Polis joins me again tonight. And thank you, sir, for being here. A lot of people might look at this and say, Tina Peters was convicted by a jury of her peers in a conservative-leaning county, no less. Why did you decide to commute her sentence?
I have to start, Caitlin, by correcting just one thing in the lead-in. She did not commit any crimes regarding the 2020 elections. She certified President Biden won. This was after the 2021. It was a small municipal election in the town. The results were counted, no ballots were compromised, but she went in and illegally tried to copy software before an update came. So nothing to do with President Trump's election. Just wanted to make that clear. Look, what the appeals court found, and what I agree, is that fundamentally she deserves time, and she committed 4 felonies. Those are going to stay on her record. We're continuing to fight the president's bogus attempt to pardon her in court. But the truth of the matter is that her speech, meaning her conspiratorial beliefs and what she believes in, are certainly an anathema to me and most of your viewers, and I strongly disagree with. But those are not the basis and should not be the basis.
Just gonna read this from the Wikipedia page. Computer breach, 2020 U.S. presidential election. After elections, Mesa County uses a risk-limiting audit procedure to ensure that the results on paper ballots match the results reported by tabulation machines. The audit process involves a bipartisan group of staff and volunteers to randomly select a number of paper ballots and manually check those results against the results issued by a tabulation machine. On November 19th, 2020, Peters signed off on the result of the risk-limiting audit for Mesa County, stating there were no issues or discrepancies with the results of the 2020 elections. Despite signing those documents, agreeing there were no discrepancies in the election results for the county, Peters met with individuals who promoted the false claim that the 2020 election was illegitimate. In the months following the 2020 election, she allowed an unauthorized person to access the Mesa County Dominion electronic voting machines and copy the hard drives of those machines. She was convicted on felony charges relating to this unauthorized access and sentenced to 9 years in prison. He's just straight up lying. She illegally allowed a person to copy voting machine data from the 2020 election. It happened in 2021 because she had it done after 2020. He's just straight up lying. In May 2021, Peters ordered surveillance cameras monitoring the voting machines in the clerk's office to be turned off and said they would be reactivated in advance of the next election in August 2021. Peters stated that no law or election rule required security cameras that monitor election equipment to operate continuously. At a minimum, they must be on 60 days before an election and 30 days afterwards. Mesa County Commissioner Janet Rowland said Peters had not turned off the cameras after any of the 8 previous elections that Peters had overseen since 2018. In the days following her order to turn off the surveillance cameras, Peters allowed Conan Hayes, co-founder of the clothing company RVCA and proponent of QAnon conspiracy theories, to access the room where Mesa County's electronic voting machines were stored and to copy sensitive information from those machines. Days later, Peters allowed Hayes to be present for a software update to the voting machines and to record video of the update taking place. Peters' chief aide, former Deputy Clerk Belinda Nisley, described Hayes as a, quote, mystery man. Peters later said that she, Bishop Hayes, and the U.S. Representative Lauren Boebert had dinner together on May 24th. So, widespread conspiracy theory about the election being rigged. She shuts off the surveillance cameras, allows a conspiracy theorist to go in there and illegally copy privileged private voting data, and then later gets to enjoy a dinner with a QAnon peddling member of the U.S. House of Representatives. What's the incentive for Colorado's governor to do this? He's a hyper-chud libertarian who's deep in bed with cryptocurrency and AI, if I remember correctly. Probably just like he wasn't gonna win re-election anyway because he's like insanely deferential to Trump and his cronies. So he probably is just grifting so that he gets on board with Nvidia after his term's over.
For a longer sentence than somebody would normally get for this crime. And that's really what the sentence reduction is all about.
There's been blowback from Democrats and Republicans for this. Your Democratic AG
Term limited? Okay, term limited.
Called it mind-boggling and wrong as a matter of basic justice. The Mesa County Republican District Attorney who prosecuted her said it was misguided and misunderstood decision that undermines accountability and erodes confidence in the integrity system. The Clerks Association in Colorado said that they're furious, disgusted, and deeply disappointed by the reckless and dangerous message this sends. What message do you think it sends?
Well, first of all, I commuted the sentences of 9 people today. I pardoned 35. Tina Peters was not among those. The Attorney General and the prosecuting attorney from Mesa County were part of the prosecution. And there's something about prosecutorial pride. Prosecutors are seldom, if ever, satisfied by the commutations I make, and sometimes they're quite mad. What a commutation is effectively saying we're going to look at the sentence as a whole. Was it different than other people that committed the same crime? There was, in fact, another public official in Colorado.
He's a lot like what's her name? Director of National Intelligence. The Russian agent, Tulsi Gabbard. He's Jewish and gay, so he's got the like self-promoting culture war stuff on his side when it comes to leaning Democrat. But his turn towards the right is obvious, and he's going to be doing like crypto grift shit for the rest of his life. He's a huge piece of shit. She's Jewish? No. I mean that like Tulsi Gabbard leveraged some of her sort of marginalized cred as a way of legitimizing her presence in the Democratic Party when she was always a conspiracy crank. He is too. It's a why I left the left thing. Man, his wiki page is so much worse than I remember. He relocated migrants via publicly sponsored buses to New York City and Chicago. He did the fucking Greg Abbott thing. Richard Hanania and Nicholas Decker. On X, Polis wrote he would recommend following public intellectuals Richard Hanania and Nicholas Decker. They are both pedophiles. Richard Hanania is a neo-Nazi and a pedophile, and Nicholas Decker is a zoophile and a pedophile. What the fuck? Okay.
Convicted of 4 felonies. One was the exact same felony as Tina Peters, and she got 0 time in prison. She got probation only. Had Tina Peters gotten 1 year or 2 years or even 3, I don't think anybody would have batted an eye. But the reason we're here is because I fundamentally agree with the appeals court that the fact that she engages in speech and has beliefs that are far from the mainstream, incorrect, should not, in fact, be a basis for harsher sentencing. And 4.5 years instead of 9 years, that's what we adjusted it to, is frankly a tough but fair and defensible sentence for the crimes that she committed.
I just want to follow up on what you said about this having nothing to do with the 2020 election. For people who didn't follow this closely, Tina Peters did give Mike Lindell, who everyone knows is the MyPillow guy, her badge, basically, her someone else's security badge, so he could go in and access the Mesa County election system. And when this was happening, prosecutors said that she was fixated on voting problems after the 2020 election and had questioned the accuracy of those. And
well, Caitlin, I just hate to interrupt you. This was related to the 2021 municipal election. In the 2020 election,
but
she
did she give
certified the
Mike
results.
Lindell?
Biden won.
Did Mike Lindell get access to the election system or not?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. She had 2 co-conspirators in the case. She illegally got one access to her after 2021. None of these crimes were in 2020. None of them had to do with President Trump's
just like an
election. If they did, this would be a very different story, and we wouldn't be where we are. This had to do with a minor municipal election and software.
But it came after the president of the United States.
One guy.
He's just straight. Oh no, he's just straight up lying. The breach in access was to check the voting machines used in 2020. It happened after the election, but he stole voting data from those machines. That was the purpose of the of the crime. It's just straight up, it's just, he's just, oh my God.
Tried to overturn the 2020 election, and she was obviously a massive ally of his. And Mike Lindell, I mean, didn't come out of nowhere. He was also chief among those leading the 2020 election. So I just think saying that they're totally separated is not how people view this.
You're speaking to her beliefs. She is somebody who probably, you'd have to ask her, believes in something happening with the 2020 election. Her crimes
Something happening.
were not related to that, actually. And she was county clerk. She certified Biden won. Trump happened to win her county. It's a conservative county. Her crimes were entirely related to the 2021 municipal election. After ballots were counted, nothing was compromised. She had 2 co-conspirators. They did everything as bad as she did. One got 6 months. One got probation only. And the unusual sentence...
That's not true. She was the county commissioner and she turned off security cameras and allowed a person to illegally steal data from... I can't... How does our republic survive this? Not just the lying, but like a Democrat governor granting clemency to a woman this bad. Just... The state Dem party hates his ass, and yet here he is. This is part of the downfall, man. Just openly dishonest, hateable. Like people say, well, Fetterman's unpopular now. Yeah, but he was allowed to exist in the first place. Systems can't abide this. You can't have a governor or a senator or a president who's just this openly dishonest. You can't. It doesn't matter if they lied at some earlier point. It doesn't matter if it leads to their unpopularity. You just can't have it. You can't have it. It's like Weimar-era judges being lenient to Nazis. A little bit. I think there are meaningful differences. I think that the difference is the Weimar-era judges were essentially like the labor aristocracy that were angry that they lived under the rule of weak Democrats. They were chud in heart, whereas nowadays judges are generally relatively liberal. It's more of like a grift economy thing. Like he's gonna be a billionaire in 10 years, if he isn't already. I don't fucking know. As long as I'm here getting mad at CNN. Debate. Should part of Trump-backed $1.7 billion slush fund go to J6 rioters? Sure. Yeah, why not? They should give most of that money to the many J6 rioters who were pardoned by Trump who have since been convicted on child pornography charges. Like it's happened like many times. You see a German court let a pedophile get off lighter because he's a prominent member of the Israeli lobby? Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I do believe that people in this country who are wrongfully accused, wrongfully prosecuted, are eligible for restitution.
There's no mechanism for distinguishing the pardons of cop beaters from anybody else, right? They're all pardoned.
I appreciate Lydia and Pete, you all acknowledging how bad this looks. What are you going to do about it?
Tonight, an unusual...
Can I do this? Nah, I don't think so. Should we give $1.7 billion to treasonous insurrectionist pedophiles? I don't think so, but I guess it's open for debate on CNN or whatever. On a per-voter basis, the total money spent against Thomas Massie would exceed the total amount of money spent in the last 7 presidential elections combined. Nice. They want his ass gone.
All right, and you guys can't stop asking questions about the rising prices.
I have not seen this format before. I am entranced. I am utterly entranced right now. Hello?
At the grocery store. We're following your clicks and curiosity, and it looks like you have questions.
Holy shit. They found a guy on the news who wears wide fit pants. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen this before, genuinely. I didn't even know they let people like that in front of expensive cameras.
How we got here and what you can do to try and save on your food shopping. So let's break it down. We've got our Elizabeth Schulze up first, then food industry analyst Phil Lempert. Guys, thank y'all so much for joining us. Schulze, let's start with you. What's going on with groceries? Because it seems like prices just keep going up. She's
And why are you doing a down gesture?
Let's talk about the numbers. What kind of price hikes are we seeing on groceries?
Yeah, they do just keep going up, Ashin. When you look at the latest inflation report, what it showed us
is Thomas Massie that much of a thorn in the side of Republicans that they're spending so much against him? Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. Trump fucking hates Massie. Unlike the Democratic Party, where you can be a Fetterman or a Jared Golden and do whatever you want and will never get criticism because the Dems actually secretly like the fact that you're tanking their agenda, the Republicans actually don't like it when you get in their way.
Prices for groceries between the month of March and April spiked 0.7%. That is actually the biggest monthly spike in groceries in nearly 4 years. And when we're thinking about that, it's important to think about kind of the context here. In the past 5 or 6 years, we have seen groceries up more than 25%. So this is kind of salt in the wound when you're thinking, no grocery pun intended there, when you're thinking about the fact that we've already seen prices going up a lot in the past few years, and now they're kind of added price hikes on top of that.
Yeah, those numbers.
Yeah, remember that 0.7% month over month annualized is something like 9% over the course of a year, when 2% is the Fed's inflation target.
Traffic are just ridiculous. And the top search on this, Schulze, is why are grocery prices actually going up? What's the answer here?
Yeah, so one of the factors at play right now is the fact that we have seen diesel prices soar because of the war in Iran. And almost all food that we get in the U.S. is transported mostly on trucks that run on diesel. So I've talked to a lot of grocers, and you go and talk to them, and they show you their bills for food delivery. Right there on their bills, what they have is a fuel surcharge, and those surcharges have been going up because of higher diesel costs. Groceries is a business with pretty tight margins, Ashin. So when they're paying more in those
extremely tight margins, that's the reason why when you make money these days, what you do is go to the stock market. You don't start a business. You know what kind of idiot you'd have to be to start? Okay, I'm so sorry. Listen, I know this is going to get made into a YouTube segment. I'm not trying to do like the autism shift topic thing or whatever, but if you're interested in getting a better understanding of how fucked like actual, not just manufacturing, but like production in the United States is, there's a channel that I'm very fond of called The Iron Snail. Cool guy, likes clothing, likes vintage stuff, whatever else. He attempted to make clothing in the United States because he values made in America production, and the production processes in America are so fucked that it nearly bankrupted him. Like, he spent decades saving up money and getting ready and planning everything out, and he had people helping him too, and it was still like just very nearly like ended everything for him, just took away all of his money. It's like a nightmare scenario. So just if you're ever wondering why America has shifted the way that it has, it's really, really, really worth understanding what the other side of over-financialization looks like. The more of your economy is dedicated to financialization, the less money is running through actual industrial production or distribution, which means that even attempting to make money by making and selling things gets harder. It hollows everything else out. Like, this is the reason why it's so difficult to open up that cute bookstore / cafe you've always wanted to run, that you'd think you do a great job running, even though we all know that you guys would fold the second the first homeless man made his way into the bathroom and collapsed there. You don't understand how bad it gets just running things. I think it'd be really interesting to get like a comparison between what it takes to run a cafe in America versus what it takes to run a cafe in like Paris. Like in terms of business costs, upkeep, rent, huge one, electricity, distribution, the supply lines, how many places they can source their goods from, stuff like that. I mean, I think it'd be interesting because I think the data backs me up on this, but my suspicion is that like it is much cheaper over there because they have more robust local supply lines. Is it possible to bring back manufacturing to America? Not without definancialization. And we're not going to definancialize without some kind of ruinous economic catastrophe.
fuel surcharges, a lot of grocers have kind of no choice but to pass those down to the prices that you pay when you're actually shopping.
Elizabeth, we've talked about tariffs before, but also apparently the weather factors in here. How does this factor into the inflation and the prices at the grocery store going up?
Absolutely right. And it's not just about diesel. We had seen grocery prices go up before. And one of the realities of food prices is that they are dependent on global supply and demand and factors like the weather. So that helps explain some of the issues we've seen with foods like cocoa beans, coffee beans, even beef. Weather has been at play there. And then you also have tariffs as a big factor here, Ashin. So tomatoes are a good example of this. Tomato prices, a pound of fresh tomatoes is up 50%, 50, in the past year. And that is a story that is largely in part because
this seems like shifting the blame to me. Oh yeah, probably. I mean, it's a news segment, so they're going to find a way to blame Zillennials or something.
Because of tariffs, we get most of our fresh tomatoes from Mexico. There are 17% tariffs on those Mexican imports. So that is adding to the cost, especially this time of year when we're importing a lot of that fresh food during the winter, early spring, because we're not making it as much here.
Yeah, you just mentioned it. I had seen it in the graphic. You were talking about tomatoes, but that spike in coffee and beef, too. Coffee's up 100%. What's up with that?
These coffee price hikes have been really brutal because these are essentials. What, are you going to forego your
coffee? When Trump did the tariffs, you said it's good to offshore manufacturing because it makes goods cheaper, and that anti-free trade leftists were dumb. Am I dumb, or how does that work with you now arguing for more manufacturing in America? Well, it depends on what kind of manufacturing you're going for. I've never liked the outsourcing of manufacturing in how it's applied, because in practice what we're doing is taking advantage of slave labor in other countries. But that's also not always the case. A good example would be that, like, in Japan, right, people are paid, by and large, fair wages for their labor, right? It's a developed country, but at the same time, stuff made there is not only much easier to produce, but much higher quality than in America. It depends on how you specialize your economy. I guess the point that I would make is that America doesn't really have any economic specialization right now outside of finance, and that's always bad. The finance industry is a leech. It's a parasite sucking on the economy. It does literally nothing for us. It doesn't improve your life in any way. It only worsens it. It's a big balloon of money. That's it. So if we wanted to focus on manufacturing, that is something we could do. There are bubbles of manufacturing output across the rest of the world that aren't necessarily reliant on slave labor. There are places in Britain, France, Italy especially. I know the Baltic countries, for example, have some robust local industry that they've preserved in like post-Soviet times. Japan, of course, South Korea. There are developed countries out there that have like local bases of domestic manufacturing that are specialized. In America, we have those too. One big one, for example, one that we really have like almost like a monopoly on, are military and PNW boots. Again, specialized topic, but I know what I know. In America, we are very good at making leather boots. We are exceptionally good at it. Rugged, hard-wearing boots. That's because in America, we still have like bajillions of square miles of untamed outback that people often want to go to. As recently as the 1950s, we were still adding states to the Union. So we needed people with like explorer clothing, essentially. It's not like Britain where everything's been tamed into, grassland, like grazing land or whatever. So we make really good boots. The problem is that in America, people, labor is more expensive. These boots are expensive, usually $600 to $1,500, depending on the quality where you get them from. Because of financialization, people don't have enough money to buy those. Because we have deferred we outsourced our manufacturing, cheap crap overseas or whatever, people are just satisfied with cheaper, lower quality goods, and there's less money in the country for it. I guess what I'm saying is you have to have your cake or eat the cake. You have to pick your poison, We can do domestic manufacturing, in which case stuff will be more expensive, but there will be more money circulating around. We can do foreign manufacturing, but if that's the case, we still need some kind of economic mobility in the country that allows money to move, to allow it to have velocity, so people are still getting paid enough that they can benefit from the higher quality production of manufacturing overseas or domestic. What we have right now is like a bastard system that benefits nobody other than a very elite core of speculative investors. You get what I mean? I guess what I should say is that I'm not fundamentally opposed to outsourcing. I think that it can possibly like be good or better. I don't think the United States is ever going to compete with Italy or Japan or France or Mexico in certain goods. And I think it's fine to rely on those countries for the high quality production of those goods, for their tooling, for their expertise. If I was going to like make a nice line of clothing to sell as like a merch accompaniment to the channel, because I would like to, it does sound fun, I would not rely on American manufacturing because it's shit here. We have bad tooling, bad processes, low expertise, and we have really bad like internal distribution mechanisms. I don't think there's anything morally wrong with buying stuff made in other countries. Ideally, the people making it should be paid a fair wage. Obviously, that is the ideal, you know?
People need these staples. We in the news business, we drink a lot of coffee, right? And so I think this is a place where people have really seen it go off. That is a tariff story that similar with beef. We're going into the barbecue season. You see
those all do. They're regular T-shirt blanks. I mean, I'd get the blanks from somewhere else. Portugal has a good fashion industry, I've heard. Yes, they do.
Beef prices at all-time highs. And it is the combination of tariffs, of the higher transport costs, but also the overall supply and demand issues. The cattle industry has been really kind of hit over the last few years, so that's why we've seen those price hikes. But this is the bottom line here for people buying groceries. They've been hit with these higher costs for many years, and now we're seeing them going in the wrong direction even more.
Yeah, it seems like this confluence of factors. So before I let you go, Elizabeth, even if the war with Iran ends soon, how long would it take for grocery prices to actually get back down?
Yeah, I want to give you a good answer on that, but the reality is it's probably going to be a while, because once these prices go up, they go up pretty fast. It takes a little bit longer for them to come back down. That's something we've seen in the past few years. And generally in a healthy economy, Ashin, we do see prices going up, but we want to see them going up at a slower rate than they have. That is unlikely to change, at least in the next few months. Most of the analysts I've talked to, the food supply industry experts, expect we're probably going to see some more price hikes in the months ahead as we see the impacts of the war play out, not just because of higher diesel, but also because of higher fertilizer costs, which are going to be affecting the supply chain in the months ahead.
Yeesh. Shulzy, appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Yeah. Let's get to Phil Lempert. He's the editor at the Lempert Report and has some tips for how you can save on your groceries. Phil, thanks so much for being here. You're an expert in all of this. Why are some items at the grocery store hit harder than others when it comes to the cost?
Well, as Elizabeth pointed out, trucking is a major factor. And keep in mind, any fresh foods, they're in refrigerated trucks, and they have two diesel engines, so they use even more fuel. So anything fresh is going to go up even more.
What really upsets me is how the government basically made it expensive and impractical to make or import small cars. This is a perfect example, right? The United States government made a bunch of sacrifices to protect the domestic production of cars because our local car industry is very big and it employed a lot of people, right? The problem is that those car companies, Ford, whatever, are uninterested in making a good product. They just hate you. They hate you and want you to die. So they make shit-ass, low-quality, overpriced, gigantic cars that mulch children, and they do it because they worship Satan. But because the U.S. government is protecting these bad business practices, it's incredibly difficult to import a smaller, cheaper, more sensible, better-made car from overseas. Some car companies are allowed to. We get cars from Japan, but not all. Can't get any from China, coincidentally. And it's harder to get EVs over here. Sometimes Japanese, there are cars Toyota makes, they won't even sell over here, Sometimes it's because they're not allowed to. It's really bad. We're getting the worst of both worlds, Why can't we make small cars in America? We could, like Ford could. They don't want to, though, because you could buy those for less money. It's really that simple. That's the thing, Vosh. GM and Ford make excellent cars for Europe. Yeah, but not here. Because they know that Americans are stupid and the government protects them in their bad business practices, so they can just sell $50,000 trucks with no competition, basically.
We've seen it this past month. A lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables are up. In fact, if we take a look at fresh vegetables year over year, that's up about 12%.
Phil, before we get into the tips, I've got a question for you because this has been a massive search for us. People are wondering, what is shrinkflation? Is that what we're seeing when it comes to groceries?
Well, basically what shrinkflation is, it's a ripoff. Basically what we've seen since the pandemic is a lot of these companies, rather than increasing their prices or taking as much of an increase as they want, they're reducing the amount of product that's in the package. Now, some of it is legit, some of it's not. So for example, one of the first companies that did it was PepsiCo with Frito-Lay, and they announced that they were going to have 7 less chips in a bag of Doritos. They were upfront about it. But then same company, Gatorade, what they did is they went into a smaller bottle. The bottle is the same height, but just the indentation in the bottom is deeper so that they could put less products in it. So it's basically ripping us off and either paying the same price or even a higher price for it.
Here I was holding my Gatorade thinking that I'd just gotten bigger, but I guess not. So, Phil, what can people
Man, this guy's got all the silly little quips. I don't know. I kind of like him. He's a little
do to save
goofy
money?
goober.
Well, first of all, have a shopping list. We spend, if we don't have a shopping list, about 20% more on impulse items as we walk up and down the store. That's number one. Number two, don't follow
I really can't stand getting advice on like personal consumer practice from Suits on TV, but it is sort of like the same as what I would say, right? Like I say rice and beans all the time. I'm not saying it in a way that implies it's not the fault of the global economy, but he's also completely correct, yeah. You know, 100 years ago when you went to the grocery store, what were you getting? Like, I don't know, a bushel of apples, some flour, eggs, butter, whatever else. You should probably be approaching shopping much the same way. Like, it's probably a good idea to learn a little bit more about how to cook and not rely too much on just frozen meals, which are so expensive, or like, you know, the pre-boxed processed foods, just too pricey. If you have a couple that you really go for, then go for it. You can't make everything at home, but, you know.
path that they want you to. Don't walk into the store in the produce department. That's like aromatherapy. It puts us in a good mood with all those great colors and all those great aromas.
Wear horse blinders when you go in the grocery store, like those headpieces that do this to you.
We'll spend more. So that's two things. Number one is also make sure that you have make sure that what you're doing is you're shopping around the store. There's different products in different parts of the store with different prices. So for example, there's a standard of identity for New York State sharp cheddar cheese. You can get it in the dairy case, you can get it in the deli case, or you can get it on the cheese table. Go for the dairy case with that ugly packaging, and it's the same exact product, but you'll save about 30%. Same thing with seafood. If you like seafood, you typically will go to the seafood counter, see all that great seafood that's out there.
He sounds like somebody who's gone grocery shopping for the first time a month ago. In fairness, a lot of people in our country are very stupid. So I don't know, maybe this helps somebody.
Well, look at the signs carefully, and a lot of it will say previously frozen. So head to the frozen food case, buy it frozen already, and you're going to save between 30 and 50%, depending on the species. Also, store brands. We're seeing a lot of activity on store brands since the pandemic. The quality has risen significantly, and also you're going to save between 10 and 20%. And what we've all
shop at
Gas
Costco.
prices are climbing.
That's the real
again.
trick they don't want you to
Bad
know.
timing, of course, as we head toward Memorial Day weekend.
And concerns are growing that supply could also tighten just as holiday per gallon could.
That's right. And you know, you ask drivers about gas prices, and frankly, the answer doesn't require much thought. Every driver we spoke with said that the prices are just too high. But oil industry experts say unless something changes drastically with the Iran war, we could expect those prices to keep climbing.
Chat alert.
The tipping point. For Tony, it's coming up soon.
I think the tipping point's going to be this coming week when I'm driving my RV.
Where are you going?
We're going all the way up to Washington.
Maybe not a chud.
And so to fill it up, it's going to be a lot. I don't know. It's going to be like filling up a boat.
Memorial Day weekend is around the corner, and the average price of gas is $6.31 in San Francisco, $6.20 in Oakland, and $6.13 in San Jose.
That is about 27 cents higher than we were about a month ago on the state average, and about $1.22 higher than we were a year ago.
Doug Johnson.
They're not even planting rice in Thailand. Yeah, we saw this. Soon it's just going to be beans. Do you think Americans are stupider than other similarly developed Western nations? Yeah, I think that's like on paper, you know? I think that's demonstrated. If so, why? Like, legitimately, just read up on any testimonials from any teachers in the United States. Our education system is bad structurally, and a bunch of additional factors like, say, COVID. I mean, the pressure on the industry is just overwhelming, and as a consequence, everything we heard about with regard to it being bad, it's gotten so much worse. So bad. Well, I gotta wrap up. Helpful tips to avoid going bankrupt at the grocery store. What do we have? U.S. margin debt surged plus 83 billion in April to a record 1.3 trillion high. Wait, this is actually insane. $1.3 trillion in margin debt? Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. Holy shit. Looking good. Yeah, looking great. What's margin debt? It's when you borrow against your existing assets to secure securities, like a loan or whatever. So you're using your investments as collateral. You're doing the thing that ruins the economy, where rather than spending money, you're borrowing money by leveraging your existing assets and therefore incurring debt to make additional investments. This is like the thing. This is the like you falling down the stairs homestuck.wav. I fucking told you about markets capital bit. You know, it's like the thing that money does if you leave it alone for too long. If you leave capital on its own for too long, this is what happens. It's not good. I'm a smart guy. What if we had a divisible unit of currency that we could use to facilitate transactions? Okay. All right. Now, what if we could invent something abstract like debt in order to facilitate the transfer of capital to startup investments? That way, you wouldn't need to necessarily secure the capital to begin with. You could, build up on the investment and faith of other people. Okay. And then 100 years pass and you lose track of time. And then you look back and people aren't even spending money anymore. They're just leveraging debt to borrow more money, to incur further debt, to use the debt as like a tax write-off year over year. But then they're investing the money they borrowed to get more money and use the investment returns to pay off the initial debt, but they're incurring more overall debt. It happened to Japan in the 90s. Ask them how they're doing. There's a reason why if a Japanese salaryman accidentally overdrafts his debit card, he commits seppuku right there in the line of the, convenience mart. They're afraid of debt, as they should be. Debt-based economies are actually older than mercantilism or capitalism. That's true, but margin loans are relatively, well, I guess it depends on your definition. The system that allows for stuff like this to happen is relatively new. Germans are also very afraid of debt. They say they are. Have you seen what they've been up to lately? You can blame the Dutch for the entire system. I blame the Dutch for everything. When the 2008 crash happened, apparently Iceland locked up a bunch of bankers for them causing it, etc. If only we were a real country.
Two social media streamers accused of firing a gun in the Everglades during a live stream. They have now pleaded no contest to the charges. Andrew Morales, known online as Cuban Tarzan, and Braden Peters.
Yeah, Methaldo, I think that credit cards are like almost entirely American. Like basically no one has a credit card in Europe. It's just an American thing, which is crazy because it's like a fundamental... Methaldo, you're German, right? Like they in America, literally everybody has a credit card. It's good to have a credit card. Like it's bad to not have a credit card. You want one because there's a bunch of incentives for using it, like building up your credit score, and also they give you like 2% back, which can add up. We have them in Japan. I doubt they're used as much. We have the biggest debt economy in the world, like easily, you know? No one else even comes close. No one here cares about the credit scores. Oh, God. Civilization.
Who goes by Clavicular. They were each charged with unlawful discharge of a firearm in a public place. This case stems from a March live stream that appeared to show a dead alligator being shot in the Everglades. As part of their sentence, both men received 6 months probation, 20 hours of community service that cannot be streamed or
Actual Chad judge. He's actually the most handsome judge I've ever seen in my life. Do you think they picked him on purpose? They were like, we really don't want Clavicular to farm content off of this by saying that he was unfairly prosecuted by an incel judge with like a subabdominal catheteral tilt or whatever, with like a, you know, a phenotypically insufficient jawline development or whatever. So they busted this guy out. Here, seriously, he's a judge? What is he, like fucking 35? I guess it's Florida. Apparently, Japan has a higher percentage of credit card ownership than the US. Really? That's insane to me. It must not get used very much? Like as a percentage of total debt? Because in America, hold on. Countries ranked by average credit card debt. United States is highest. Balance 6,730. You got me. So the Japanese are just more responsible? No, it's not really a personal responsibility thing. It's structural. All right. I gotta read donos. I gotta get ready. I gotta pack up. Oh, hold on. Oh, what? Oh. Canada scores insane. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that's wrong with America is also wrong with Canada. They're very similar countries, which is why it's so funny that Canada's whole identity is being better than America. Vosh needs to take a break from taking a break. Oh, fuck off. I've streamed like every day I haven't traveled lately. You all notice that? I used to take like 2 or 3 days off a week. You people have been... You know what? I'm not getting into it with you, okay? Everyone knows this is the hardest job. I don't need to defend myself. Honestly. Pinar of Atuan and 2 Powered, thanks for the tier 1 subs. Lynn Fine, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Q Norku, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Squid and Leafar, thanks to $5 both. Purple Pillar 999, thank you for the $6. God bless you. Valerie TBH, thanks to the tier 1 sub. Archrave Max Tacamillion, thank you likewise. Really appreciate that. I'm sorry I told you to take econ classes. That was mean. I appreciate your apology, and I remember that. It hurt my feelings. June Bug. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Thank you. Nikki Bugs, thank you for the tier 1 sub. What anti-veganism does to a person's brain. Oh, God, yeah, the Fetterman clip. I can't watch Bill Maher on stream because it's content ID, but yeah, this shit was fucking retarded, man. If you are, to me, if you're anti-cultured meat, you're actually subhuman. You have engaged in a degree of moral dumbfounding that I think is unjustifiable within, like, the range of acceptable human beliefs, you know? Even Bill Maher thought he was retarded for that, and that's a low fucking bar. Calico Express, thanks to the tier 1 sub. Sovball, thanks to $5. One guy replaced the oil in his Polski Fiat with olive oil. Works shockingly well, but this is an old shitbox. Yeah, I feel like the newer a vehicle is, the less likely this is to work. But, you know.
Wanted unreliable.
I wouldn't try this at home. Can I see the car? I don't really have a Mental. Is there seriously not like a pullback shot of the whole vehicle? Man, this guy's a real gearhead. Jesus Christ, the whole fucking video is just close-up of engines. Not a single... have you no pride in that? There we go. Good Lord. Wow, that is a shitbox. Well, probably runs better than stuff from today, on olive oil at least. And Softball, thanks to the additional $5. The motor oil shortage is going to hit chat especially hard since we're mostly PNW queers and probably own Subarus. You can't delay oil changes on Boxer engines. I don't know what a Boxer engine is, but I'll keep that in mind. Noah, too cool for school. Thank you for the $7.77. Thoughts on Paraboots? I think they're really cute and this color's really nice. I like Paraboots. I think that, hold on. Well, it depends on which Paraboots you're referring to. I think that these shoes are, if I may, and I hope you'll forgive my description, charmingly ugly. Like, I think that they are a little bit ugly, but in a kind of a cool way. Like clogs, a little bit. Like, you slap them on, and it's like, oh, look at my big, loud, chugly shoes. You know, charmingly ugly. I think they're nice for that. I mean that. They're nice and chunky. They are nice and chunky. I will say, though, I am not a tremendous fan of this style. I don't know why. This is like... Okay, there are so many distributors and manufacturers of high-quality heritage menswear that style their clothing so fucking badly, and I don't understand why. It's a consistent problem that I see. Like, why are you wearing these with slim jeans cuffed up that high? I don't know. It's just not my thing. Like, I'll see people be like, look at these heritage $300 jeans, but they'll be like skinny jeans. I saw this in a fucking, Alden's the other day, where they have, these are legitimately like the nicest shoes made in America. Alden shoes. They are very, 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 very good. And I look up at the brick and mortar store, like promotional imagery that they have going on over there. And it's like, it looks like the stereotype of urban hipster millennials, like the kind of guy who would wear suspenders with low-rise jeans. I don't know if I can find any of the examples. Okay, something like this, right? No hate. Okay, wait, hold on. This is not official from Alden's. This is a guy on Reddit. But in my opinion, so you're wearing dress boots, and then you're wearing them with, like, the skinniest jeans in the world. Like, doesn't this look disproportional? You know what I mean? Wait, those are nice boots? They're exceptionally nice boots, absolutely. But so often I see guys wearing them, like with this, with like the slim double cuff, and it's like, I don't think this looks good. You know what does look good, in my opinion? Here. Yeah, I know. Give it a bit more leeway. This, to me, looks congruous, but so often I see these styled in like a really odd way. It's so slim. You know what these boots are called, by the way? Not those. These are called the Alden Indies. Because Indiana Jones wore them in the movies. They only called them the Indies afterwards. He wore the Alden 405 work boot, which has since been renamed the Indy boot. And as you can see... These are not the Indies, though. Are they? Oh, you're right. They're not. They're not. Yeah, these are like Red Wings, I think. These are the Indies. Look. But if you take a look at how he wears them, because they're work boots, like dressy work boots, he's not wearing them with like super skinny jeans like a fucking 2012 millennial or whatever. He's wearing them with like big, wide, you know... Actually, what is he wearing? What does Indiana Jones wear, like pants-wise? Chinos? They've got to be chinos, right? What pants would look good with it? I mean, I pardon me for being trad on this, but I feel like, does Indy not look like he's rocking his fit right here? Like, look at him, Jesus Christ. Does he not have his shit on? Iconic look. I mean, so iconic they named the damn boots after it. Yeah. They're good boots, too. I have them. His pants were based on World War II Army Corps trousers. I guess in my opinion, if you're going to wear, look at how like wide his trousers are. If you're going to wear work boots, I think you should wear them with pants that you look like you could work in. You know what I mean? Like your ass is not working in well, I guess a lot of people do these days because jeans are like really stretchy now, but I don't know. You get what I mean, right? Anyway, I gotta, like, seriously, I have to move on. Kowalski, thanks the $5. The link is a chart. You beat the odds. The odds. How height and queerness compete. 6'2" is the least queer height? That's crazy. Wonder why that is. Stupid Genius, thanks the $10. Vosh, don't trust that video. We don't have enough olive oil to do shit. Yeah, isn't olive oil more expensive than motor oil anyway? Meanwhile, consider this alternative. What the hell? I replaced my engine oil with cheese. All right, what's the car? Shitbox? Man, we used to know how to make things. Not anymore. Not anymore. Did it work? We can only assume that it not only worked, but was a good idea. Let me read Super Chat super quick, and then I gotta go. No more spiels, guys. We gotta go. Hey, Blinken, thanks the $5. Can I put you as a reference on my job application? Yes. Gloomy Orpheus, thank you for the $5. Norcor, thank you for the 2. Haley Goofy, thank you for the $10. Vegans, check your B12 levels. That might be why you're going crazy. All right, you goofsters. Shikigami-chan and Melgert, thank you for the $5 and Brazilian Real. Look up Pirao Tropeiro, traditional Central Brazilian barbecue side dish. My mouth is watering just mispronouncing it. Sheesh. Altina, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. And with the additional $5, Cadman, Raider, and Koi, thank you likewise. Thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that, Koi. I'm really happy to hear that my coverage makes you feel better and such, you know? Yeesh. Old Schoolist, Zoe Spencer again, and Zoe Spencer third. Thank you for the $5 all. Really appreciate that. This was during our great shorts versus put options argument, you know? I've made multiple segments on West Virginia, though if you're hoping for me to say anything positive about the state, you're probably not gonna, yes it is, read the manga. They're probably not going to be satisfied. Horrible Hand, thanks the $5. Still alive, thank you for the $2. Zach Crow, thank you for the very kind $10. I had friends who did Birthright in high school, very creepy. They said they specifically hire hot 20-somethings and encourage them to develop relations with the Americans to get them to migrate. Yeah. It's been known. The IDF and the Israeli government specifically use beautiful women as part of their like IDF and birthright recruitment processes because they're trying to like up birth rates and sort of groom you into going to Israel. They do very similar stuff to what white nationalists did in Rhodesia. Rhodesian propaganda back during the 1960s, 70s, and post-fall of Rhodesia propaganda after the fact really emphasizes how, like, if you go to Rhodesia, there will be a beautiful, skinny white woman waiting there for you to defend the brush with. Like, if you go to Rhodesia, there's like this abundance of beautiful white women to defend the, you know, your claim alongside or whatever. Wasn't true, but, you know, they say it. Neutron John, thanks the $5. The 2 Powered One and Zoidamus, thank you for the $10 both. I really appreciate that. Sayaka Neko, thank you for the $2. It's very kind of you. Cadmian Reader, thank you for the $2. The Sphinx and Tim Krister, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. What about non-voters? They get to suffer half. Diego B, thanks the $10. If anything, people are underselling how fucked Puerto Rico is. The power grid was already fucked. Stay combine that with the cost of living. Yeah, no, for sure. What we've done to Puerto Rico is like a mega crime, and people should go to jail for it. Like lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people. I'm legit confused by some of the plot of Dorohedoro. It is extremely confusing, and it is meant to be. But the plot is ultimately coherent once you understand everything. It benefits from a rewatch. I also think the manga is more comprehensible than the anime because you can, you know, follow it at your own pace. You're not kind of like gate limited by the anime's pacing. I think that season 2 of Dorohedoro has been excellent so far. Also, Noise, my wife. Thank you. Sterling Thomas. Dave Anderson, Abe Lincoln, thanks the $2. Oh, sup, white boy? Sup. So Utah people losing power because of data center? If the data center was built, yeah, it'd be a real problem. But right now, that's not on the table because something like that will take a while to build. If they even do build it, you know? Symphonic Glory, thank you for the $5. Sorry, Miss Streamo was busy canvassing. Nice! I hope you had a good time canvassing. I hope it went well. Hope nobody chased you with a dog. Have fun on your trip? Oh, I will. And speaking of, folks, with that, I gotta go. I'll be back when I'm back, and if something really fucked up happens while I'm gone, I'll make a video on it from my phone. So everyone take care. I love you all. And wish me luck out there in the blinding Utahn sun. Take care. How long will you be gone? I forget.